In the first video I made a stack out of scrap clay. I plan to use it all up making things. Not sure what to make right now, but we will see. Sometimes the clay tell you what it wants to be. English is not my language, so many of the words I do not know what it is. So, but I'll try my best to explain what I do. And here I've taken some plastic thingies. I think they are used for cutting fabric and for quilting. I'm not sure about the word, but it's for tracing around and cutting fabric. But they do play nice with the clay, and I got many in a pack. Very nice shapes, and love to use them with my clay. I think I like to find something useful, something to use the items for. In the start, when I started with polymer clay, I just tested out everything that I could. Spent hours and hours and hours testing, and it piles up. And even if it is fun to make it, it takes space. So I got a lot of things from the past just sitting there, not sure what to do with them. So now I'm trying to make useful stuff. And I found a little book, journal, and I want to pretty up the, the front of it. Maybe also the back, but at least I will make something to cover the front with. The beauty of the scrap clay is that if you do not like what you have made, you have only spent time, not money, not extra money. You can use it for something else. Just curl it up and blend it so it make one color, and use it for the inside of beads or as a background. So you are free, very free to test things. It's very freeing to play with the scraps. Polymer clay scraps can be true treasures. When I first started looking at making canes, and I was afraid of messing up things. Clay do cost a lot of money, at least in my part of the world, and because of that, it held me back from creating stuff. And I looked and looked and spent very much time just learning things by watching. But I'm hands-on when I learn stuff. I need to do it myself. And then I got the courage to ask in a group, polymer clay group, if someone had some leftovers, some scraps I could buy to test the clay. And to my surprise, Nobody wanted to get rid of their scrap clay. And a new world opened for me. The scraps are treasures, true treasures. Later I found on Etsy people selling canes, ready-made canes, and some of them, the ones who make a lot of canes, they do sell their scraps, but it costs a fortune, and I understand why. It's a lot of work to make pretty scraps. So I make my own, and now I want to use the leftovers from the leaf canes and some other clay I had lying around to make pretty stuff. This one I did not know what to do. If you noticed when I cut the block in the last video, first video, I took two bits, and when you cut over a block and turn the two parts towards each other so they meet, you get two patterns that are the same. And when you put them together like the one on the table now, you can make Natasha beads. The symmetrical scrap beads. Search for Natasha beads, and you'll find many good videos on how to make pendants and other pretty stuff with Natasha beads. It's a technique that you also can make with fresh clay, but using scrap clays to make Natasha beads often turn out so very pretty. So what to do with this? At first I thought about pendant and maybe a button. Not sure about what this want to be. So, but I flatten it out so it's even. Maybe a pendant would be nice. Rolling a ball of clay. I'm going to test. The worst thing that can happen with this is that I have to blend it and make a color. Dark gray, I think this will be, or very dark green if I blend it. Holding it carefully, not to distort the pattern, because I want it to look like this. But to be able to see what I do while I press down. When I get rid of all the air bubbles and shape it, I use a regular plastic bag. Once you store bread in or small stuff. Mind the wrinkles, they will show. But now I can push and push without getting the clay dirty. Because the colors can bleed, especially as I got some black in there. And it can smush all the way around the other colors, so I must sand it afterwards, and I do not enjoy sanding so much, so I try to avoid it. Not sure if I'm completely done with this. Replace it, make sure that the plastic is not dirty and continue. And I think I like the shape of it, so I'm going to cut around the edges, and then I leave the plastic on. Very many times I just leave the plastic on. If I use a cutter or like I'm now going to use the knife, with the back of the knife, I add the plastic on top and make sure it's stretched out and cling to the, because I want the edges to be a little bit soft, and then when I press down, the plastic will drag the clay and form a soft edge. So the same happens if you use a cutter and the plastic will smoothen the edge. I have to trim it afterwards, but I think I can do it with my fingers, making a soft edge. I know the back of this will need a solid color, but that I will add after. Now first get the clay I do not want, cut offs away, and look what it turned into, and see if the wrinkles, if the plastic had set wrinkles in the clay. Then I just smooth it out with the thumb and make sure I do not drag the black around, making it look dirty. While the clay is soft, you can do any changes you want. So it's a very forgiving. And you can, if you get bumps or uneven places, you can use something to rub it off afterwards. Sandpaper. Testing. Could be a nice big ring or a pendant, or I'll do not have to figure that out now. Just testing. I know I need a backing for it, but later, not now. Fingerprints. If this has been all black or all white, with me having my fingers all over, there would have been some fingerprints. But if you texture the thing and just smooth out any fingerprints before you bake the clay, most of the time things will be very nice looking. Do most of the smoothing out before you bake it, and you do not have to work so much with the item afterwards. At least if you want a rough look. And if you texture, like I'm using the knitting needle to make and go over all the black, making valleys, dotted valleys. If you use texture, the surface can look very nice, no matter what you Ah, I think this can rest now. Maybe I'll put a pail on it afterwards, or poke a hole in it and make something out of it. I do not have to decide now. And the button, or the circle I made the bead, I think I will make a pattern on that too. That was the charm or button for the journal. Journal. Texture it a little bit, make valleys, dotted valleys, and then I put the metal finding, that little thing, inside. I did buy them for making stuff to put in the ears, but I'm not sure about the metal, so I do not trust it to be in my ears. So then it can be used for something else. And I just make a small cut so I can slide it deep inside and close the opening before I bake it. This way, this will never get out of there. It's trapped under the clay, and the clay is strong, so it will hold the pin. And the pin I will use pliers and make a hook afterwards. So it can be a button, it can be a sharp. Maybe even a bead, in a chunky bead necklace. Only your imagination set limits. And time. It do take time. This one, a little bit plain looking. So I want it to pop a little bit. It's too big to use for an add-on, so on something like a necklace and flimsy. It's too thin, and I do not want it to back it up. If I'm going to use it on a journal cover, it needs to be thin. But I want a pattern on it. And the dies from my Big Shot die cutting machine, they work very nicely with adding texture on polymer clay. Tools from different crafts can be used for so many things. Oh, look, it do leave a print on and make it look nice. At least I think it's nice. I can work on it later, but first I make patterns with the die cut dies. Since they're metal, they do play very nice with the clay. Just have to be sure that I clean them between paper and clay, so I do not get the old clay sitting in there. Cleaning the edges. I'm still not sure what to use this for, but could have been a tag. Poke a hole in it, round the edge. No, you'll see. I do like that got the pink and yellow in the one end and green on the other. I'm just poking a pattern in it, so can I work with it later? And if at the end of it I do not like it at all, maybe tomorrow I look at it and find, oh, why did I make that? Then I can squish it together and just make a dark. I think this will be a dark green if I push and blend it. You know, it's going to be something. You got an idea for me? Please post in the comment. It's always nice to hear other people's opinion on what you do. In the end, I know it's my choice, but so getting ideas is so useful and so appreciated. Still got a little bit of the first sheet of clay left, and I do not want to push it together and make one color just yet. So I make small triangles that will fit with the other. So if I make a mosaic later, I know the size will fit. But I'm not going to bake them. They will stay raw until I know for sure what to use it for. So I can change my mind at least 100 times before it's baked. When it's baked, it's baked. I can still change a bit by adding new things on it, but yeah, I prefer to have them raw until I know what to use them for. Just protect them from dust, and do not store them in a plastic container that do not play nice with clay. Polymer Clay Tutor have very good information on how to store raw clay. You cannot store it in all types of plastic. Look her up. She got very many useful tutorials. Now, I am not quite happy with this, but we'll see what it ends up with. I am going to make a cover for this black notebook, but if it I'm not sure if it's mosaic or whatever. You'll see. See you in my next video, I hope. Part 3. Goodbye.